Hi, my name is Celeste Metzger, and today I'm going to be introducing you to the 4 phases of our coaching cycle. A little about me is that I have 13 years of classroom experience and have been a mentor for the past 3 years. I also serve as a Teacher Leader Fellow in our district. My job is to help you to identify goals for yourself and for your students, and then to help you to create steps that will get you there, also known as our coaching cycle. Our outcomes for today, as we look at the phases in this cycle, will be just understanding what the framework of our cycle is. What does it look like, and how does it work? I also want you to understand the importance of active collaboration and how the mentees are the ones in control of the cycle. And finally, I want to demystify the process of coaching cycles. I will be addressing some of the queries and fears surrounding mentorship practices and why it's not so scary to be a mentee after all. First, we will take a look at the overview of the cycle diagram. Notice how the mentorship cycle is a loop that goes on continuously. Each step is informed by the step before it, so the work at each stage is very important in preparing for the next step. There are several opportunities within the cycle to actively collaborate with your mentor in order to participate in the setting of your professional goals. Your collaboration sets the tone of the whole cycle. If you communicate your needs and opinions throughout the cycle, I can support you much better. Next, we will look at phase 1, which is analyze. At the beginning of every cycle, we will collaboratively set a tall goal. This goal will be determined by observation data and will inform our coaching plan. For our first tall goal setting session, we will review what tall goals are and how they support our coaching cycle. But for now, we just need to know that each step in the goal setting is informed by certain questions. For the timeline section, we consider when should this goal be achieved? Depending on what our goal is, achieving it could take varying amounts of time. Sometimes a goal could be a matter of weeks or 2, but another time it could be a matter of 3 or more weeks in order to collect enough data to be sure that the goal was achieved. For the action section, we consider what action will be done to impact the student learning. While we're setting goals that affect our own practice, it is important that we always be mindful that our teacher actions should improve student outcomes. This is especially important because in a later phase, we will not only be looking at data regarding our own practices, but also data regarding student actions and student work. Because of that, it is important that we set a goal with student learning in mind. For the label phase, we consider what is the rubric connection. This is important because not only are we building towards good student outcomes, we are also norming our practices to the rubric, which will be used later in our formal observations. And for the language phase, we consider what language of the descriptor within the indicator does your action specifically target. This is a great time to notice that as mentor and mentee are looking at the rubric together, it is an opportunity to build a shared vocabulary when looking at both teacher actions and student actions. The setting of a tall goal and the utilization of the coaching cycle is meant to be a support, not a punishment. So as you can see, the goal setting that takes place in the Analyze section goes very far in connecting our practices and student outcomes back to the rubric and supporting us as we try to improve. Our next phase will be co-develop. This is when the mentor and mentee work together to determine a rough timeline in which that tall goal will be achieved. Mentor and mentee conversations are very important at this point, as it is at this stage that adjustments can be made to the plan in order to better fit any self-set professional goals that you may have. Active collaboration at this stage gives you better ownership of how you want to reach your goals. Our next stage in the coaching cycle is implement. This is everything that is done during the cycle to implement the coaching plan. The implement stage is usually, and should be, the longest part of our coaching cycle. So let's talk about what some of those activities during this phase might look like. One activity that will likely happen is co-planning. Co-planning means that we will sit down together during a prep period or a previously agreed upon time and look over an upcoming lesson. We will identify tricky parts together and discuss challenges or misconceptions that we think students might have. We will then plan for supports or strategies that could be implemented during the lesson to improve those student outcomes. A co-taught lesson is very similar, except that we would both take an active teaching role at the same time during the lesson. We would sit down ahead of time and plan how to segment the lesson for this. Another activity could be a model lesson. That means that I would come into your room and teach an upcoming lesson to your students, while you observe how I handle pacing, student engagement, or any other classroom practice that lends itself to your goal. This is where the mentee's voice can be helpful in feedback. Following the activity, your thoughts can help the mentor to determine whether the activities are supporting in a way that we anticipated during the co-develop phase. During this phase, your mentor will also perform walkthroughs in order to gather observational data and student work for the next phase. This phase has the potential to be the most uncomfortable or intimidating for mentees as they feel that they are being judged. It is important to realize that this cycle is a collaborative effort to reach goals for both the mentee and their students. The job of the mentor is simply to help, support, and guide, never to judge. The next phase of our cycle is the evaluate phase. This stage is when you evaluate the evidence of the impact from the coaching cycle and the different coaching activities that took place in the previous phase. At this point, mentor and mentee will collaborate to determine whether the tall goal was achieved and another cycle should begin, or if the tall goal was not achieved and the coaching cycle needs to shift and continue. The important determination at this phase is whether the tall goal was met or not met. This affects how we move into the next phase. As we said at the beginning, this cycle is ongoing. So after the evaluate phase, we return right back to the analyze phase. In the event that the goal was not met, we will make shifts to the tall goal as needed in this phase, or maintain the tall goal and make shifts in the next co-develop phase to the activities that will be used. It is important to note that just because we haven't achieved the goal yet does not mean that our strategy didn't work. We will simply look at the data and figure out what shifts can be made in order to make the goal achievable. If it was determined that the tall goal was reached in the previous evaluate phase, we will then use this new analyze phase to set a different tall goal to meet any new or different needs and move into an entirely new cycle. We are always striving to grow and improve our practice. The job of the mentor is to help you to maintain your growth and support you as you attempt to reach whatever goal you set your mind to. The goals of this presentation were to help you to understand the framework of our coaching cycles, understand the importance of active collaboration through the cycle, and to demystify the process of how coaching cycles work to improve teaching practices and student outcomes. I do hope that you are walking away with an understanding of the framework of the cycle, as well as the idea that coaching cycles are a collaboration with a peer, not a trial of judgment. The goal of the cycle is simply to help you to reach your greatest potential. Your collaboration is imperative to the success of every cycle. I look forward to working with you over the course of this year, and I cannot wait to see what we achieve together. I would love to address any questions or concerns that you may have about the mentoring process or any of our activities as we begin our year together. Please feel free to reach out during my office hour in room 212. I hope you look forward to our coaching cycle as much as I do. Thank you.